Congressman Louie Gohmert is here. He joins Neal Barton.
Trent, thank you. I tell you, it's so nice to be introduced because usually I'm the one doing all the introductions.
Exactly.
Trent, thank you very much for that warm hello and howdy. Thank you for being here, Congressman. There's a whole lot to talk about right now. We are in election season, but one thing that really drew some heat this week on Capitol Hill and across the nation, we started off here with the Emmett Till anti-lynching bill. And so pretty much that was put forth by Congress, mainly, and tell me if I'm wrong, because this is just what I have read. It's sort of an act of togetherness, symbolism of saying the United States government is against lynching, and of course we should all be, but you were one of 4 congressmen that voted against it. But the main reason, what I have read on my research, is you said that the punishment in this bill didn't go far enough.
Well, actually, we had voice voted the bill, the original bill, out of Judiciary Committee. I'm on.
Yeah.
And debated it and voted it out, but it had a life sentence as the maximum punishment. And I really prefer our criminal law here in Texas.
It's much harsher.
Yes,
Yeah.
you can get the death penalty for a lynching like, in effect, it was a lynching down in Jasper when James Byrd was killed. And I thought, from all I read and heard, that the death penalty was totally appropriate. But some said that James Byrd case is the reason we need a federal hate crime law.
But
it doesn't have the death penalty in the federal criminal justice system, and so we were better off with them being prosecuted under state law. But in this, and I have a lot of respect for Bobby Rush. He's been fighting injustice his whole life.
Of course.
And he could not be nicer. Every time I talk to the man, he's just one of the nicest people. And as soon as I voted no, I went over to talk to Bobby, and I said, Bobby, this bill had a life sentence on it, and now it's got a 10-year max.
Which didn't seem like a whole lot.
It's not. In Texas, that would be a third-degree felony. Third-degree felony for conspiring, participating. So he said, well, you know, I had the life sentence on it. And I said, what happened? And by the way, some people said, well, you should have amended it. The Democrats brought it to the floor for a vote, having changed it at the last minute, and they brought it under suspension of the rules. You're not allowed to bring any amendment. It's voted straight up. So that was a problem. And then for the federal government to usurp the criminal power of the state, there has to be a federal nexus. There's got to be some kind of federal connection. And I felt like that connection should have been made more clear what it was. Otherwise, it's more vulnerable to be struck down. And if somebody's participated in a lynching and you convict them, number one, it needs to be more serious than a 10-year sentence. But number two, it needs to be a solid enough law that it will survive on appeal so somebody doesn't flip it down the road.
So I guess this was more of an act of symbolism, if nothing else. But did any of your congressmen, conservative or liberal, come up to you and say, come on, Louie, I mean, just flip on this or whatever, help us out?
Actually, no. A lot of them were saying, this is the right vote to vote no. It's not serious enough penalty. And actually, there were a number of other Republicans that voted no. Democrats that were concerned about it not being a tough enough punishment knew that they could not afford to vote no on it without having their party come after them in their own primary. So the Democrats were voting yes. There were, I think, 5 Republicans. Well, I'm sorry, this was, most everybody voted yes, but there were a number that voted no and then flipped their vote, and they were telling me, look, yours is the right vote. This is ridiculous for it to be brought with language like this, but we will not be, our constituents will not give us a chance to explain, and we'll be beat up and called racist.
That's my point, because the deal is we had a discussion in the newsroom about this, and I just kind of glanced at it and I thought maybe I'm wrong, but I'm thinking Texas law is tougher than most U.S. law, and that's what Gohmert was going for, and people are so knee-jerk nowadays, they pretty much started attacking you. So before we move on, I just wanted you to be able to defend yourself or basically say...
And let me tell you, Bobby Rush said, you're right, it should have been a life sentence, but they required that I change it before we voted on it so that it'll pass in the Senate.
Right.
But he said, I respect your integrity on this.
We have another segment with you. We have 1 minute in this one. Let's get started now on the coronavirus. So pretty much are we handling this okay right now? This week, Democrats really pushed back against the president, saying, you didn't do enough. We've been caught flat-footed. In about 50 seconds, what do you have to say about that before we take a break and come back and talk about it?
Don't forget, they were saying when the president said we need to restrict people coming in from China, where this may have come from, people accused him of being racist. How dare you restrict people coming in? And now that he's saying we have got to be careful on the border, there you go again, being a racist. No, he's trying to protect the country. So if you restrict people coming in to protect America, then people say, oh, he's a racist. And if you don't restrict them, and they say, see, you're not taking this seriously enough. So it's a political football, and they're not being fair about where they throw it.
Yeah, some are saying the Democrats are using this right now as a cudgel against the president being political. AP actually did a fact check a couple of days ago defending what the president did, and we'll talk about that when we come back in just a couple of moments from right now. We continue our conversation with Congressman Gohmert in a couple of moments from right now.